So on the condo rider, anytime you are representing a buyer or a seller in the sale of a condominium unit, you have to have this document, right? This needs to be included. This sets forth critical information about the transaction that's happening, and also provides some clarity for both the buyer and the seller as to what's going to happen. And when I start to go through this special assessment issue, which I've actually dealt with some of you before, you'll see why it's so important and why if you fill it out the right way, depending on who you're representing, it can be a deal breaker for your client, right? And what could ultimately end up being something that either your client's really happy with you about or they're really upset with you about post-closing, right? And first thing we're going to talk about is condominium association approval. Again, if approval is required, we're going to look at the association documents. That's what's going to tell us that. This is usually a form that's filled out by the seller and then given to the buyer for the buyer to sign off on, that they've acknowledged that this is what's being disclosed. But typically this form is filled out by the seller first, right? Then the buyer gets it. So how do you set that up? Well, if you're going to submit an offer, right, for a condominium purchase, put your offer together, attach a blank condominium rider, let the seller or the seller's agent, the listing agent, know that you want to get your executed contract back together with the filled out condominium rider signed by the seller, and then you will have your client countersign it, at which point you'll have an effective agreement, right? That's how I would submit this. Just make sure that the expectation is clear that this condominium rider comes back with the offer that you sent, and that your deal is contingent on you also getting this critical document, okay?